All right. I had gone over some of this Java trail, and when I did, looking out there at you, I got the feeling that no one was really listening. Now, maybe I'm wrong, okay, but I don't think I am. So we went over on this trail, and I'm not going to go over any of it, but I just want to mention to you. We went over object-oriented programming concepts. We went over language basics. We went over classes and objects. We went over annotations. Now, today, rather than going over interfaces and inheritance, we're going to write a program that uses interfaces and inheritance. But I would tell you that if you have questions or if something doesn't make sense, I would head back to this. All right. The other thing I wanted to tell you, I know that a couple of you have gotten a hold of me and you'd said, hey, is there any other place I can go and get some information if I want to learn Java a different way or whatever? And I don't know if you've ever been out to this site. It's called Edx.org. All right. And for their sites, it's just they have classes online. Now, hear me out. They're $49 a class. Now, if you want to audit them, they're free. The only thing you get for the $49 is a certificate saying that you took the class. And I've taken a bunch of them. They're actually pretty good. All right, but the teachers are literally from all over the world. So I took a Java class with them a couple years ago, and the woman who taught it was from France. And English was her second language. It was pretty obvious. She had a really thick accent. So I don't know, but what I'm saying is if you go out to edx.org, just go out to the actual site, and there's an Explore All Programs button in there. They've got tons of classes in just about everything, and including Java. All right? All right. I mean, it's just a possibility. All right. Now, I wanted to mention to you, too, and I realize after I say this, you'll be like, why do we care? But hear me out. I've been having a problem. I think I showed you the site that this year won the $100 basically for rating the site for my friend Tom for his leavemeathome.com pet sitting service. Okay? Well, the point is, I'm ready to move that thing, and I wish I wouldn't have told him I'd put a form on there, because after I put the form on there, I had to validate it using PHP. Putting the PHP in the program has screwed up the top of the program. I can't get there's photos at the top in a slider, and they aren't responsive. They're always humongous. See what I'm saying? Yes, everybody? Okay. So why am I telling you that? So I posted a thing out on, that's the first time I've ever posted, out on Stack Overflow. All right? First time I posted it, I was told basically, you're an ass, you don't know how to post things. Read these things, they're for morons. So I had read them, but I went back and I went and rewrote mine, put it out there again. And the same guy who told me I was a moron said, why did you repost it? You should have just changed what you had. And I said, I did that too, but I've refined it. I think I've made it better. And he didn't get back to me after that. But the point of all that is this. When you go out to stackoverflow.com, all right, look on the screen, please. Along the sides now, they're starting to put job ads. All right. And I found this one today, and it's in CrevCore. Now, I'm not saying you want to apply for it now, all right? I'm looking, let's see, I don't see Florida listed there, I'm sorry. But it's for a junior mid-level full stack developer, all right? And, what the stuff they ask for, much of the stuff they ask for is stuff you've done. I actually sent it to Colin this morning, and he hasn't gotten back to me, all right? Because I know he was going to be doing a video interview with that Bulwark company that he sent something to, and I sent him another thing. Just was wondering if he'd heard anything. So, but the point is, I've shown you that, and I've shown you this, or I've mentioned this before. You go out to Indeed.com, and Evan says, I want to be a Java programmer. And I want to be a Java programmer somewhere around the St. Louis area. So you click on Find Jobs. You will find them. Now, many of these jobs are going to say in there, we want experience. All right? Do you all realize the fact that when they say all this stuff, what they're always putting down on there is their ideal candidate. In other words, when I taught at Blackhawk, they were offering at the time, it was, I think, $60,000 a year for somebody to come in and teach everything that was over 3 different programs. So they interviewed, and this one guy who they interviewed, they weren't going to hire him, but they asked afterwards, do you have any questions? And he said, I don't have any questions, but I have a comment. And he was real honest. He wasn't mean. So when I say this, you might laugh, but it wasn't meant to be funny. No one laughed. But he said this was a very well-written job ad. He said you're looking for somebody with hardware knowledge so they can teach in your hardware courses. You're looking for somebody with programming knowledge so they can teach in your programming courses. You're looking for somebody with web design knowledge so they can teach in your web design courses. And you're looking for somebody with security experience so they can teach in your security program. And he was told, yeah, basically yes. And he said, for 60 grand, good luck. He said, you aren't going to find it. But that's not really what they were looking for. What they were looking for was somebody to teach in the security area. But they figured that might bring in other people. That's all I'm telling you is, you go and you look at this. It says programmer, developer, VMT. I don't know what it is. I never brought it up before. All right? So it says it's for SSE, and they've got some stuff in here. Again, notice, more and more of these places are changing from bachelor's degree required to bachelor's degree preferred. All right? And sometimes, now this is what bothered Colin. I don't know if I've ever told you the story. I'm just going to make it, I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest abridged version. All right. A year ago, Valerie Sandbrink was one of the one of the students in class. She was a second-year student. Somehow she kept in touch with this woman I brought in from K-Force, and 2 different women that she kept in touch with. One of them said, hey, they're hiring at Anheuser-Busch for a web developer. She applied. She got accepted. Okay? So Colin was like, I could do that. For some reason, they won't interview him because they want somebody with a bachelor's degree. It sounds like it's for the same job. Colin doesn't want to say to them, well, you hired Valerie because he doesn't want to get her in trouble, but yet they won't hire him, or they won't interview him. Do you understand what I'm saying? So every place is different. All right? I mean, sometimes, it's you got to put a foot in the door. Sometimes you got to kick the damn door open with your feet. All right? Okay, enough. Let's get into IntelliJ. We're going to start up a new project right now. Let's see. I want to desktop. What do we have on here? Come on. I've got one. Java BA. That'll work, Java BA. All right. So you're all into IntelliJ IDEA, correct? All right. We're going to create a new project. So create a new project wherever you create a new project. As always, when it comes up to the first screen there, the new project, we're clicking Next. When it comes up to the second one, we're clicking Next. All right. Again, you put it where you want it to go. All right. I have one on there called Java BAL. Let me just double check. Come on. Okay, we're going to create this. We're just going to call it, for lack of better words, let's call it Payroll OOP, because we're using true object-oriented programming in here. So I'm just calling it Payroll OOP. Other than that, there's no significance to that name. Again, save it where you normally save things. It says the project file here already exists. Yes.
You should just make a new folder.
Yeah, I know you should always make a new folder. You're right. No. Right. But you're correct. I thought that this was a folder that was just called Java. It's not. Basically, I thought it had a bunch of stuff in it. It doesn't. So, all right, I'm on the desktop. And I'm going to create a new folder here. It's just called JPS Java. And there's nothing in it. All right, desktop, JPS Java. And I'm calling it Payroll OOP. That's fine. I don't care anymore. That's fine. All right, I got a bunch of junk open here that I don't need. All right, so we have a new project. The new project is called Payroll OOP. Mine isn't because I just screwed it up, but don't worry about it. Yours will be fine. Now, we're going to change this around a little bit as far as what we do. If you don't know what I mean, then watch. Again, go in and create your package, please. So right mouse, click on the source folder, go down to package, call it what you've been calling yours. All right, but now the first thing that we're going to do, if you would please, and I think we do it like this. New. Okay, come over like we have been doing. In other words, go to the package, right mouse click, choose new, choose class. Everybody's done that? Your screen looks like this. We're going to change this. I want you to click the down arrow here, and I want you to choose interface. All right, and I want you to call that interface Payroll OOP. Normally when you, in fact, we don't even need the OOP, let's just call it iPayroll. Normally when you create an interface file, you start it with a capital I. It is not required that you do that. It is convention that you do that. All right, so that's the first thing we're going to do. Click OK, and you're going to get this. Now, it looks almost like what we've been doing before, except instead of saying public class iPayroll, it says public interface iPayroll. All right? One of the things that I mentioned to you was that Java supports what's called single level inheritance. What that means is you can only have one parent. All right? But it supports multiple interface inheritance. So we could make as many of these interfaces as we wanted to. We're only going to make this one. Okay? Typically, when you create an interface, one of the reasons that you use it, and in our case, the reason that we're creating it is we're going to have a bunch of constants that we want to be able to use over multiple programs. All right? So what I'm going to put in here is literally probably about 30 lines that we're going to add in here right now. Okay? So I'm going to come in with a comment and say declare and initialize class hourly constants. We're about to create an hourly class. That'll be the first one we create in just a couple minutes. No, you don't have to in here. You can, but you don't have to. All right? I know this is very similar to stuff we've done before, but just bear with me because it's going to change in a couple lines. I don't know what we'll say for. We'll say that the maximum rate. We've used this before. Let's just use $250. Okay, that'll be fine. And we're also going to have. We haven't done this before. And that'll be a default. You'll see how that's used in just a couple minutes. Again, if you're more comfortable doing it that way, then put 0.00. It really and truly does not matter. All right. Now, I'm going to come in and I'm going to copy these first 6. And I'm going to paste all that right below here and then make some changes. So the next one, they won't be for hourly employees. These will be for commission constants. All right? I'm going to just inflate this. There. I'm not going to worry about lining stuff up. That's fine. Right. Okay, and a couple more here. Right, and one more. I'm going to go back and double check and make sure I've got all these set up correctly. Just a second. So let's take it from the top here. So what we're saying is for an hourly employee, the most number of hours that they can work without getting overtime is 40. Their overtime rate is 1.5. The minimum hours they can work per week is 0. The maximum they can work per week is 84. The minimum amount they can make is 0. The maximum amount they can make is 250. And if we don't put anything in there, it defaults to 25. Does all that make sense? Okay. All right. Next, we have our commission employees. Now, maybe they had a bad week. Maybe there was a storm. But the minimum sales they can make is nothing. We're assuming the maximum sales they can make is $1 million. And the default will be $10,000. The minimum commission rate they make on their sales is 10%. The maximum they can make is 33%. And the default is 25%. Does all that make sense? All right. Then we've got our salaried employees. And the minimum they can make per week is $1,000. The maximum they can make per week is $10,000. And the default is $2,500. All right. Finally, we've got our piece workers. The minimum number of pieces they can make in an hour would be 0. They don't do anything. The maximum number of pieces they can make in an hour is 1,000. And the default will be 100. This is the price per piece. So the least they can get for each piece they make is a dime. The most they can get for each piece they make is $1, and the default will be 25 cents. Does all that make sense? All right. These are arbitrary numbers I chose. They really and truly don't have any significant meaning to them. All right. That literally is it for this file. Okay, that is it for this file. We are now able to use this file in every program once we put something into it that I'll show you in a second. All right, so let's save this. Do a file save all. You cannot run this. Everybody hear me? It's not a dot. It's an interface file. It's not a class. So I don't know if you even tried to do run. You could try, but it's not going to make any sense to even try to run it. I don't know if what I just said makes sense to you or it doesn't make sense. I have no idea. But it's important that you realize that this is an interface file. It's designed to be used with other files. It's not designed to be used on its own. All right? And again, if that doesn't totally make sense, ideally it will in just a couple minutes. So I'm going to do a file, save all, and I can leave this up here. I don't have to close it. All right, but now we're going to create a payroll class. We're going to make it simpler than we did for the one that we worked on last time. So again, let's come down to our source, to our package, right mouse click on our package, choose new, choose Java class. We want to keep this one a class, and this one will be called payroll. All right, and like I said, we want to keep this one a class. All right, everybody's got this? All right. So now we got this new class. It's called payroll. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to change this. Look at the screen, please. We want to make this an abstract class. So put the word abstract in there. What that means is you cannot create an object from it. Did you hear what I said? So I mentioned to you yesterday, we're going to create a level 2 hierarchy. So right now, forget about the interface. Now we're doing payroll. And what we're going to get, it'll actually just be a level 1, I guess. We're going to have hourly. We're going to have commission. We're going to have salaried. And we're going to have piece worker. That makes sense? That's what we're about to do. All right? And each one of these will extend from here. And each one of these will be able to use any to all of the constants that were just defined in that interface file. All right? So let's put in our class variables. I should say our interface variables, sorry. Instance variables. That's instance variables. Just like we've done before, we'll have private string first name, string first name, private string last name, and we're only going to put one other field in here. Hopefully you'll understand later, but it'll also be a string, and we're going to call it SSN. I don't think I have to tell you what that is. I believe you'll all know it's going to be the social security number. All right? That literally, that is it for our instance variables. We're not going to worry about anything else. All right? And you'll say, well, what about the amount of money they make? That we're going to put in the classes that are underneath here, because every employee will be paid differently. All right? So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do just a single constructor where I pass in everything. All right, so I'm going to have a string for the first name, a string for the last name, and a string for the social security number. So I'll just call that S. SS, social security. That'll work. All right. And we're going to call our setters and getters. Again, the order in which we do this doesn't matter, but since we've already got this written, why don't we come in here and code, generate. Let's choose our getter and setter, and we will choose all three of these. All right, so I now have my get first name, set first, or my get and set first name, my get and set last name, my get and set social security number. I'm taking it for granted that if I'm going too fast, you're going to stop me. All right? But we've done this before, so I don't think it's a real big thing. So here, with this constructor, we're going to call set first name, and we're going to pass in the first name. Then set last name, and we're going to pass in the last name. Finally, set SSN, and we're going to pass in the social security number. Okay? I'm asking questions, and I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot, but especially for those of you who are maybe struggling and hopefully got a little bit more yesterday, does what we're doing so far make sense? Is there anything we've done so far that doesn't make sense? All right. Then we're not going to touch our get first name. Okay, so we're not going to actually touch any of our getters. They're all fine the way they are. But we will do the same kind of stuff that we've done before. In other words, for this, for the first name, we'll come in here and we'll say fn dot equals. In fact, let's put a not in front of that. I'm going to change this to fn. I'm going to change this one to ln. So we're using our, yeah, we'll do that. And we'll choose this one to SS. Okay? All right. So, not fn dot equals question mark fn colon UFN. All right. Can somebody tell me exactly what this line right here does? What does that line do? Yeah. So it's checking, and it says if the first name does not equal the empty string, meaning there's something in it, then take that fn and assign it to the first name. Otherwise, assign UFN. All right? We're going to do the same thing with the last name. Except we have to change it from fn to ln and uln. All right? Now, the only one that's left is the social security number. All right? Now, we are going to kind of cheese out on this, and what I mean is we're going to do it the same way. I'm not going to take the time right now If you were a, quote, real Java programmer, unquote, you would make sure that the person either entered in, what, 9 numbers or 3 numbers a dash, 2 numbers a dash, and 4 numbers. See what I'm saying? But we're assuming that they know what they're doing, so I'm just going to put this as SS. All right, like that. So far, it doesn't really look very different from what we've done before. Hopefully, you'll agree with that. All right. Now we're going to do one more thing, 2 more things. First, we're going to override the string method. So public string to string. All right, that should be a big S. I don't know why I put that in there as a little s. There we go. All right. And what we're going to say here is return return string.format, just to show you that there's different ways of doing this. %s space %s \n /ssn :\t %s comma get first name, get last name. Oops, I forgot my parens. Get SSN. Okay. Now, you may never have seen this before, so if you look up on the screen, please, and in particular, kind of fixate on lines 45, 46, 47, and 48. The string.format, this, although people from Java wouldn't admit it, they ripped this off directly from the C programming language. Those %s's are placeholders. They mean that a string is going to go there. So this first %s is going to hold the first name. The second %s is going to hold the last name. Then we're going to have a blank line. Then we're going to have SSN followed by a tab. And then we're going to grab the SSN. Does all that make sense? Like I said, you may or may not agree with this, but by and large, so far, this thing looks virtually identical to the kind of stuff we've been doing. There's nothing new. So we're going to put something new in there right now as soon as I get done with my playing here. All right. So first of all, I told you that if you make a class abstract, okay, if you make it abstract, you can't new it, so you can't create objects of it. If you look up on the screen there, I don't know if you agree or not, but conceivably at least, if you have those 4 kind of workers that are on the board, those being hourly, commission, salary, and piece workers, they're probably all going to be paid differently. Okay? For instance, piece workers don't have a commission rate. Commission workers don't have a price per piece, etc. So now you're going to start to see why we made this an abstract class. Please type in this. Public, abstract, double, earnings, paren, semicolon. That's it. That's it. An abstract method like this has no body. Did you all hear what I said? All right, we talked about APIs before. What this method means, right there, the one that's on line 66, the one right near the bottom, what that particular method means is any class any class that's going to be extended from payroll must have a method called earnings. It cannot have anything passed into it, and it must return a double. Does that make sense? I'm teaching you part of the API. All right? Now, we are done right now with the payroll class. That's all there is to it. So again, File, Save All. We don't have a main in here yet, so we still can't run it. And that's okay. All right, so we're going to again right mouse click on our package name. We're going to choose New Java Class, and we're going to call this class Hourly. And we want it to be a class. All right. This is the biggest one out of the ones that we'll create. Not a warning or anything, but just so you know. That's probably the biggest. Okay? So we're going to create 4 classes now. We're going to do hourly. Then when we get done, we're going to do commission. Then when we get done, we're going to do salaried. Then when we get done, we're going to do piece worker. And then when we're done with all 4 of those, we're going to create our driver. And we're going to create objects in that driver of each one of the 4 classes. All right? And we will be able to do the sets and the gets and all that good stuff for each one of them. All right? So I've got hourly. You all do too, I believe. Click OK. Sorry. And I'm going to start creating the hourly class now. All right? So first, I'm going to put in the instance variables. What I'm asking you this question. Look on the screen, please. If we assume that each hourly employee has a first name, has a last name, has a social security number, has an hours worked, has an hourly rate, which ones do we have to add here? Out of the ones I just gave you. Hourly rate and hours worked. We don't add first name, last name, and SSN. Our parent is going to handle that for us. All right? And I'm not even going to say, does that make sense? Because you're going to see it in action in just a few minutes. All right, so our instance variables will be a private double. Hours worked. And a private double hourly rate. All right. Now, we're going to have our constructor, and it's going to be a full arg constructor. All right. So, public hourly, and we're going to pass in, we're still passing in a first name. String FN, string LN, string SS. Now the new stuff too. Double HW for hours worked, double HR for hourly rate. Does that make sense? We've got to do something next, but does what we're doing make sense? We're saying that each hourly employee has a first name, has a last name, has a social security number, has an hours worked, has an hourly rate. Does all that make sense? But we're not handling, this class is not going to handle these 3 things right here. This class does not handle those. The parent does. So we have to tell it right here. Super and FN, LN, SSN. Sorry, SS. My fault. All right, so why am I getting an error? I don't know. Object cannot be applied. Expected actual arguments. No clue. All right, I'm hoping that error is going to rectify itself in a minute. We'll see. And we'll call set hours worked. And we'll pass in the hours worked. And we'll call set hourly rate. And we'll pass in the hourly rate. All right, which means what? Which means that the next thing we have to do is our getters and setters but only for those two fields. So again, code, generate, getter and setter. Notice what's there. Bless you. See what's not there? We're already generating the getters and the setters. The software's got some smarts built into it. We only want these two fields. Boom. All right. Nope. All right. So we've now got our getters for our hours worked and our setters for our hours worked. All right. Again, we're not going to touch the getters. We are going to touch the setters on both. Now you'll start to see this, hopefully. All right. All right. We've got our hours worked right here. I'm not even going to worry about this. I'm going to hit enter a couple times, and there, it's there. I may use it later. I may not. I don't care. Everybody with me? I don't care. But again, hours worked is too much to type in, so I'm making it HW. And later, hourly rate's too much to type in, so I'm making it HR. All right. So now I'm coming in here. Now I'm going to do some work in my set routine right here. So I want to say if the hours worked is less than, okay, we're going to get an error. It's okay. It's okay. So I'm going to say it's less than min hours. All right, so if the hours worked is less than min hours, or the hours worked is greater than max hours. So if any one of those is the case, we're going to do something. Okay? Don't worry about what we're going to do. But you notice I have an error here, and I have an error here, and I have an error here. Everybody see that? You probably do on yours too. The reason we've got those errors, all right, when we created a class like this, we have to say extends payroll. Now notice, please look on the screen. I'm going to hit the space bar. See how that left? See that? But now I'm getting an error up here. And the reason I'm getting that error is because we have to say implements I payroll. All right, why are we getting an error there? I don't know. Class hourly must either be declared abstract. Oh, we're not done yet. That error will go away. Okay? But this is the first time you have seen this, where we've used extends, where we have created an interface file. All right? Look on the screen if you would, please. Remember the last thing we put in here, this thing? See this? Earnings? The reason we're getting an error now in here is we haven't made an earnings thing yet. We're going to in a minute. As soon as, give me 5 minutes and we'll have that error gone. All right. So we've got this. If this is out of whack, what am I going to do? I'm going to just set the hours worked equal to 0, but I'm going to do more than that. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do what's called throw an exception. So I'm going to throw a new illegal argument exception. All right? And I'm going to put in here some stuff. Well, what exception? I'm going to say hours worked must be between min hours and max hours. So in other words, what should come out there is it should say hours worked must be between 0 and 84. Okay? Don't need that. Now I can come in here and say this dot hours worked equals HW. That's the whole routine. So type it in, and then I'm going to take a minute to explain it. We're going to do a similar type of thing in just a minute to the hourly rate. Then, after we do that, we're going to override the toString method. Then we're going to write an earnings routine. Then we're going to take a break. All right, let's pretend for a moment. Let's pretend that we created an object here, and for hours we put in 1,000. All right, everybody with me? It's not even possible to work 1,000 hours in a week if you're a single person. All right, so it will be greater than max hours, correct? Look on the screen. The reason it's not choking anymore on min hours and max hours is because we've got that implements Payroll. That's where it's grabbing that from. All right, so what this says is, hey, if you put in something negative or something greater than 84, you're going to basically present a message on the screen that says hours worked must be between 0 and 84. You're just setting it equal to 0. In fact, should we use 0? How about this? Didn't we have something we called def hours? Remember? That's a def hourly rate. How about, did we have a def hours worked? I don't know. I'm going to go look. We've got a def hourly rate. Should we make a default hours worked? We can do that, right? Go back to your file here. Go back to your iPayroll file and type in this line. Static double def hours worked. Set that equal to 40. So add this line to your iPayroll file. For me, it's line 13. If you typed it in the same way I did, yours will be line 13. Everybody have that line in? Yes? All right, then go back to hourly. Change this to def hours worked. Def H worked, I guess it is. So if you...
Instead of H equals that, shouldn't it be hours worked equals that?
Yes, it should. Oh, this?
Yeah.
That one that's right here, this should be HW, all right? Because we're setting that HW to that down here, all right? So there's no reason to set it here because we're already resetting it here, all right? We could do that and then leave this line out. Most of the time you do it like that to show everybody, you know, we know we're setting that equal to 40.
Whenever I hover over it, it says it's never used the HW. The first one.
The first one, this?
Yeah.
All right, well, we can do it like that, okay? But if we're going to do it like that, which is fine, if we're going to do it like that, let's get rid of this line. Let's bring this line here. See, I don't know, I don't understand why it's saying that. Because we are using it here. See, what do we have here? We had this. We're setting it equal to 40. Now, would you agree there's no else here, right? So if the person did have a number of hours that were within range, that's going to happen there. I mean, we could literally put a this here and then put it here, but that's redundant. So I would leave it the way that it is. All right? And if it's going to give a warning, it's going to give a warning. All right? Does everybody in this room understand? It's obvious you do. But do the rest of you all understand what's happening here? We're saying that if you created a payroll object, an hourly object, and we gave it an hour's work that was either negative or greater than 84, we're going to set it to 40. And then regardless of whether it was valid or invalid, we're going to set our hours worked variable to that value. Does that make sense? Yes? Yes? Okay. So now we're going to do something similar for hourly rate. All right, again, I'll keep that line there, but I'm going to do the same kind of thing I just did. In other words, I'm going to say if the hourly rate is less than the min H rate, or the hourly rate is greater than the max H rate, we'll do the same thing we did here. So I'm just going to grab this and modify it. I think it'll go faster if I do that. So I'm going to say HR equals def H rate. Throw new illegal argument exception, and this will say hourly rate must be between min rate and max rate. Oh, it's min H rate and max H rate. Do you all understand what's going on in there? All right. What I am showing you right now, probably won't like hearing this, but it doesn't have a damn thing to do with what we're going to do in Android. But this is where Paul and I have a little bit of a disagreement. All right. I have no idea what Paul's knowledge is of Java. It's not a concern to me. But I think you should understand Java fundamentals if you're taking a class that's called Java/Android programming. All right, that's why I'm showing you this stuff when I'm showing it to you. All right. So, almost done, almost ready to take a break, but first, yes, it should be hourly rate, and that should be HR. Thank you. All right, yeah, change that line right there. And because, again, I'm a little nutso about this, I actually had a teacher that graded, part of the grade that you had was based on how nice you lined stuff up and how pretty you made stuff. And I guess that must have gotten partially into my head. Okay. I would tell you more about the person, but they were a drunk, and I don't want to say any more than that, so because this is being taped, even though my guess is the person's probably dead. All right. Okay. So I'm going to overwrite the toString method now. Do you all realize, looking at the screen here, that if I say this, string output str equals, output str has no, it means nothing. We could call it Tony. We could call it Brady. You might laugh, but I never told you this, honest to God. With my last daughter, if we adopted all 3 kids, if the last one was a boy, I wanted to call her Brady. But it had nothing to do with him. My wife just said, I can't stand that name. Okay. What's Edelman's first name? That wouldn't work too well either. All right. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put in this. It equals hourly payroll object. Okay. Yeah, just for the hell of it, we'll put a \n at the beginning, just in case. It shouldn't need that, but that's fine. All right. Output. There we go. Plus equals. Get first name. I'm typing challenged today. I don't know why, but I am. All right. Plus a blank space, plus get last name, plus, oh, I don't need a plus there, do I? Nope. So what does it look like here? I got two pluses. Okay. And I don't need that. There we go. All right. In fact, after the name, I'm going to put in a bunch of tabs here. T. I'm just going to try to format it now with you guys. If you don't like it, format it yourselves later. That's not a problem. All right, plus get SSN. I should have done a decimal pattern. I didn't. So this is going to look ugly, but that's okay. All right. Now, if we wanted to pretty it up, and I'm not saying you do, I'm not saying you don't, but what we could have done in here, okay, I'm going to do it. You don't have to, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to go back up to the top of my program, way up on top here where I've got the hours worked and the hourly rate. Down below that, I'm going to put in decimal format pattern 1 equals new decimal format okay, and then I'm going to copy that line. We'll get rid of the red in just a second, and we'll make a pattern 2, and that one will have a $sign in it. Okay. Right. So it says it cannot resolve that symbol. So the reason for that is we need an import statement up here. So import java.text.decimal format. All right. Now we've got our patterns in here. Okay. Still giving me that. Left figure of the pattern. Yes. Give you the smart-ass answer, yes, if you want it to work. All right. So now we can come down to the bottom here. Oh, you know what? We wrote the toString. We didn't write the earnings yet. We'll write that in a second. All right. But if I want to, now I can use pattern 1.format. Now it'll be the 2 decimal places. That's hard to read. Put it on another line. All right, I'll need another paren there. And this one, I'm going to put on another line as well. And that'll be pattern2.format. All right. And we've got this earnings thing in here. Well, what didn't we write? We didn't write how they're going to get their earnings. Okay, why? Because I skipped it. Why? Because I skipped it. All right. So we're going to do that right now. Then we're taking a break. I sure need one. All right. So when we get down to the bottom here, we're going to write our earnings routine. But if you look on the screen, we defined earnings here, correct? Now, what we're about to do right here is we're about to use an annotation at override. We're writing our own. Okay, so we're going to override the one that's there. Public, double, Jesus. Public, double, earnings. Notice as soon as I put that in, how that stuff went away. See that? Now let's look at the top. I'm just checking. See how that's gone? Now I might have a few warnings in here. The majority of these are going to be for typos. Okay? It says one error found too, so we'll fix that. But I think it is because we're not returning anything in here yet. We're going to fix that right now. All right. If get hours worked, if that is less than or equal to max non-OT, okay? You already know what this means. No OT worked. So we will just return get hours worked times get hourly rate. All right? That's what we have so far. Otherwise, they did work overtime. All right? So we want to return, and you don't have to do this, but just so you know, many programmers, when they're going to return something like this, they always put everything they're about to return into parens, just to be sure. All right? Because you're doing a bunch of stuff, and you want to make sure that gets done first. So I think that's a good idea. Again, you may or may not agree. So return. Right? I've either got too many or too few parens in here. So let's see. Those two, I want one there. I don't need that one. I don't need that one. Yep. The easiest way, like I said, we're taking a break, but before we do, okay, we got two employees. They both make 10 bucks an hour. The first one worked 40 hours and makes 10 bucks an hour. The other one worked 50 hours and makes $10 an hour. All right? Would you agree the first one worked less than or equal to 40 hours? Would you agree with that? So, it's get hours worked, which is 40, times get hourly rate, which is 10, which gives them $400. That's right. The second one, this is paying them straight time for their first 40 hours. So that's 40 times 10. Again, that's that top line. Then we want the hours that they worked, which is 50 minus that max OT. Okay, that's 10 right there. That's going to give us 10 times their hourly rate, which is 10 times 1.5. So that's 10 times 10 times 1.5. So that's 100 times 1.5, which is 150. So that'll give them 400 or plus 150 or $550. That makes sense? Right? We're not going to write the driver yet. We'll write the driver a little later, but we now could write a driver and we could start testing the hour stuff. Rather than doing that, we're going to take a break until 2, and then after the break, we're going to come back and we're going to write the commission class. All right? If we have time, we'll write all 4 of them. This was going to be your pretest. All right? But we're doing the pretest now as a class. Tomorrow, nobody asked about this. Remember that thing that said throw illegal argument exception? Tomorrow that's a built-in Java exception. Tomorrow we're going to add our own exceptions to this. All right? So like I said, go take a break, come back at 2, please. If you start looking at the warnings in here, a lot of them too, not the one that you mentioned, Evan, but a lot of them will say, oh, this can be private. And I'm not disagreeing that it can't be, but I was always taught that that's the hallmark of object-oriented programming. That is, writing your methods public, but keeping your data private. All right, that's why I'm writing it in this way. Now, I hope you're not going to be that nice a guy, because I am going to make you turn this in.